Morning. So I've been doing a lot of stuff here lately because I've got a lot of things going on in the personal realm, so I haven't had a whole lot of time to do the things I want to do video wise. But you know, there's always time until you're out of time. You know what I mean? Until you expire. So anyway, as long as you're not in a hurry, we're alright. Anyway, so where am I? Hill People gear. So I talked to you about this Hill People gear chest rig, or chest kit, chest bag, whatever the heck they want to call it, right? So I made a couple of videos on it recommending, different things. My recommendations to improve upon it, because sometimes you can't improve upon a product, alright? Now, I talked to you about removing the grim locks from up here and putting them down here. These are kind of weird but useful, as far as holding things that don't require tons of strength, right? So you keep this chest bag in place by putting those grim locks on the bottom. And as I said, you can take a couple of these little plastic carabiners, clip them into your belt loops, right? And then go ahead, the extension part here is supplied with the bag. So just go ahead and cinch that up, and it keeps that bag in place if you're moving around a good bit, up and down hills and vales and mountains and whatnot, or you happen to be jogging for some reason. That will keep this chest bag in place, right? It won't be like all over the place when you're moving about with it. So anyway, just cinch that up. You don't want it real tight because you still want to be able to move, but you don't want it to where it could flop up and down when you're moving around, right? So what did I do to it this morning? So I added, this should be standard with these bags, okay? I added a couple of D-rings. I'm going to add 2 more. So I'll get to that in a second. So I talked about replacing all of their pulls because they got these stupid plastic bits at the end of each zipper pull, right? So I replaced all of those right after I got it. I did that. And one of the reasons why I do it is because I like to be able to lock them off. See that? How I just weave them back and forth together until the zipper can't open. Do you see that? And then I've done this with travel bags too. You could put a lock in there, and then unless somebody's got a knife, they're not going to open that zipper because they can't get the lock off, and they can't undo this weaving together of these zipper pulls, right? Why do I have this like this? Because the back is so hard to get into unless you use one of their little gimmick methods to pull it apart, right? I don't keep firearm in there. I don't care about that. But what I am going to use that back section for is things that I do not need to get to on a regular basis. If I'm sitting down and I'm going to be doing some kind of mapping out of an area, and I got rulers in there and protractor and whatnot, and that could just stay in there for when I'm not using it at all, right? And then to just go ahead and weave that together. Don't worry about it. So this bit up here that I talked about before with the number 10 YKK, that's a good one. So what I did is I don't have any extra pockets or none of that stuff to go in here because, you know, I just don't have a lot of items, you know, like a pocket protector, right? So anyway, I don't have any of those types of items to keep knickknacks in, okay? Because a lot of that stuff is pretty expensive for what it is, you know, to be honest with you. But anyway, here I am with the D-rings. So what did I do with these D-rings? These D-rings should be standard on these Hill People gears, because these Hill People gear chest bags are expensive. Now that's relative. If you're a millionaire, they're not expensive. You could buy them like M&Ms, but I'm not a millionaire. Hence I'm letting go some stuff to do other projects. You know, I talked about rucksacks before. I put it on the whiteboard over there. I'll give you a look at that in a minute. So these D-rings are Duraflex. They're made very compliant military spec, right? So these are heavy duty D-rings. What I did is I took the loops that they put on these things, right? Let me check my time. They put these loops on these things, and the loops, the webbing on the loops is not as heavy duty as I would like. It'd be nice if they were just a little bit thicker. Anyway, it don't matter, because I folded that over. I just folded the whole thing over, and then I sewed it. I sewed it back and forth 3 passes by hand with Coates upholstery thread. I've talked about this before on the channel. I'm telling you guys, hand sewing anything, especially in a military or survival situation, this thread is the very best that you can have for hand sewing. It is super strong. You get a few passes of this on, and you are good to go for anything. All right. So this one, I had this in my rucksack for a number of years. I've used some of it, as you could see, right, on a bit of quite a few bit of projects with this here, and it's olive. And anyway, everything that I've sewn with this stuff is still together, right? Everything. Hard use, it's still together. Same thing with this. This is black. I used black on this one because I don't really care. It's inside the bag and I want you to be able to see it, right? I hope you can see it. Anyway, so here we are, black Coates upholstery thread. So I sewed it back and forth 3 times here after I folded it over. So I sewed it back and forth 3 times, and then I knotted and singed the knot. Okay, melted the bitter ends and squished it all together so it will never come undone. And then I put what I call anchor knots on each side. Basically, this is round and round and round through about the same hole. Okay, I always take a double strand of the thread on my needle, right? So I knot it off on one end, on the bitter end, and then I sew it round and round and round, you know, 6, 8, 10 passes around, and then I knot it off and singe and melt the end and squish it in together. So that's over here on this side, as you can see there. And I do that on each side, and by the time I get done, I got about 20 passes. If I do around and round 10 times, that's equal to about 20 passes of thread. So that is not coming apart. You can hang off of this, right? Should be able to hang off of that. Whatever the strength of this D-ring is, that's the strength. Alright? Because that is never coming undone. Again, these are Duraflex D-rings. They are very compliant. Every one of these Hill People gear should have these D-rings. All of them. Not to have them is kind of like cheaping out a little bit. Now, if I go inside here, I have not done these yet. Okay, like I said, yet. So as you can see, like I said, this is kind of flimsy material. So whatever this webbing is, it's a little on the thin side, but it's okay because when I put that D-ring on there, it allows me the flexibility to wrap it around the D-ring. Okay, so I'm wrapping it around the D-ring, and then I'm gonna sew the crap out of it with the Coats upholstery thread. So I'll sew that D-ring in place. I'm gonna put a D-ring on each one of these. Alright, so that'll be 4 Duraflex D-rings. You can tie anything off you want on these, and you'll never lose it. Alright, if you sew it like I showed you. Now, these D-rings up here, right? So these D-rings up here, let me just put this off to the side. See how easy that is with that number 10? Guys, that's the way they both should be. Both of those zippers should be like that. So these D-rings, these are Duraflex also. These are rated to over 200 pounds each. I know. The big ones are rated to 4. So I've got two 2-inch big suckers that I've got several actually. Now I used one on a knife sheath for a dangler, right? So it's good for 2. That one's good for 400 pounds. If you got 400 pounds pulling on your knife, you got some major issues going on. All right, it might, maybe you got your knife caught in a situation that you're actually glad that it's strong enough because you ain't falling to your death, right? Could be. Stuff happens. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I took those grim locks off of here and I slide, I'm going to pull this up. I slide that D-ring on there. Slide that D-ring on there. And then I put that parachute cord over and under and then knot it off over here. And then it cannot slide off. So that's it. So the thing about this is if I wanted to, there's still enough loop here. There's still enough loop here that if you, for some reason, you wanted to put a 1-inch buckle, right? So you got those repair style buckles that you could put on stuff. You could literally put that on there and then clip it in up here somewhere, and you still got your ring to tie off a set of binocs or what have you. Let's say you're a hunter and you're doing a big game hunt like elk or something. You're glassing a really big area. You got some heavy binos. You could easily hang those off of here. So that's just something else to consider. One other gripe that I have about this Hill People Gear chest bag, okay, is that there's only this one quick release. This one side release buckle to get in and out. Should be 2. Should be one here and one here. I mean, if you wanted to get crazy, you could put one here and one here, but I don't really think that you need that. Personally, I don't think you really need that up here. I would just go one here and one here. Alright? So the way they figure, I guess, is you pretty much set it up to however you want, and then you got one place to just snug it up. Okay? Just snug it up, and then you just push that little loop there back, and it keeps the extra webbing from flapping about. Right. So it's not too bad, but 2 One on each side would, in my opinion, that would be better. So I'm out of time on this. I am still going to do the Polk video. That is still on the agenda, so don't think that that's gone away. It's just I'm behind. I'm behind on projects. Let me just show you real quick on the whiteboard, right? So you guys want to take a look at that real quick. So those are the rucksacks available. They're all in mint condition. They've had little things done to them to make them better than stock, okay? Got the Tactical Tailor Malice tube. You got the Carrymore SF Saber 60 to 100. Drop Zone Mother Rucka. Mystery Ranch. Recce Tactiplane SOCOM. And yeah. So you got Coyote, multicam and multicam, and then email for details. These are going to go to fund other projects around my house here. Thanks guys. See you later.